For those of you who don't know, but I also feature sarcastic commentary on my Patreon, which isn't posted anywhere else. I thought that it would be fun to highlight the top snark from every single day as an incentive to get people to join. I started the month off by finishing up When You Make It Home, which was a standalone romance. Then I finished up Eternity, the last installment of the Fury trilogy. And I finished up the month by starting in on The Iron King. Yeah, but Brad also gave her the ring box. There's literally no reason for her to wear it on her finger, besides the fact that it's well over 24 hours since her dinner with Brad. This is literally in here to cause drama and for no other reason, because nothing else was happening, so we might as well make Meg be too stupid to function. If she was really her friend, she wouldn't have been happy to see Brad, if only for Meg's sake. She should have been, ugh, that cheating dirtbag is back in town. I hope he gets hit by a city bus. I've missed this. I've been here, I whispered. I'm sorry I haven't. I looked into his clear, lively eyes. Hey. No. You can't have a line of dialogue from character A immediately followed by an action from character B in the same forking paragraph. I thought that she'd said the third line too. I walked to the door and opened it. Jason. He stepped in, eyes wide, mouth open, and put his hands on either side of my belly. Would you look at that? He slipped one arm around my neck while the other hand continued to explore my stomach. Then he planted a kiss on my cheek. You don't get to ghost her for months, hang up on her twice, and then show up and act like she's the gosh darn love of your life. They might have patched things up following whatever made them separate earlier, but something tells me that their relationship was likely already hanging by a thread. Considering Jason's behavior, wouldn't it surprise me if Meg wasn't the only thing he'd stuck his Richard into. Not yet. I have 6 weeks to go. Are they sure there's only one in there? She cackled. You poor thing. You're a house. If you wouldn't walk up to a non-pregnant person and say, wow, you're super fat, what the fork gives people the audacity to say it to a pregnant woman? Learn some gosh darn manners. Furthermore, he died 4 years earlier. At literally any time in those 4 years, Candy could have tried to reconnect with her children, but the fact that she didn't honestly speaks volumes about who she is. Candy doesn't give a shirt about her kids. She actively chose a thug over her family. Don't get me started on the, oh, I had to protect you bullshit. As I said, she could have at least told Mike about the entire thing, but the fact that she didn't, again, speaks volumes. She was simply looking for an excuse to leave, and she found one. You don't get to be angry at Meg for constantly saying that Nina never felt like her real mother and then get angry at Meg for hiding her own closure about her bio mom. Like these two things are forking related. Do you know about the man she was with before you? He didn't answer, but I saw it on his face. You know you're not. He put his hand up. It makes no difference. It changes nothing for me, nothing for you and Steve. To misquote from Guardians of the Galaxy, he might have been Meg's father, but he wasn't her daddy. Everyone knows. There's a news crew waiting outside. It happened in less than 5 minutes. I doubt that the news crews were there for a baby delivered in a bookstore. Once summoned, the goddesses of vengeance didn't know when to stop, nor did they want to. They can't distinguish between appropriate punishment and malevolent retaliation. The desire for revenge is submerged by its evil underpinnings, leaving tortured victims in its wake. Yeah, thanks, we got that in the first 2 books, but thanks for assuming that your readers are too forking stupid to have figured it out on their own. There was a rumor that Zach had fallen prey to a mysterious illness or accident that left him unable to play sports, but really Em was fine just knowing as little as possible about Zach's new life. She was just happy he was no longer part of theirs. Which I think is super shirty writing. Don't build up Zach to be the perfect victim to the Furies and then have the vengeance take place off-page, with the characters not knowing many of the details. The whole thing was bizarre. Others could write it off as an outburst of a moody rock star, but Elm felt it was something else entirely. Knew it, in fact, because she felt the same way. The hopeless frustration, the feeling of being deeply misunderstood. Or maybe it has something to do with how his friend recently died in a tragic fire of her own making? Maybe that's just me, though. One of the popular girls also in the class chimes in that she heard Chase had a trashy girlfriend, but that's all they knew. They told JD about how Chase had apparently been stood up at that fancy French restaurant, but again, they don't really know much about the mystery girlfriend. JD thinks that it's odd Chase would have made out with the girl and then immediately gone to jump off the bridge. She talks about how she had begun to sense that things weren't quite right about the 3 cousins and talks about how Ty had dyed her hair in 5 seconds without any dye. Em knows that Ty is trying to become more like her, which baffles her something fierce. The thing that gets me about GD's subplot is do men know that it's okay to say thanks but no thanks to a pretty girl? It made sense with Chase's established character being a horn dog, but with JD, him being too awkward to reject Ty is honestly kinda weird. Even if you remove the supernatural element, you have to ask the question, Why the hell is a 19 to 20-year-old lady hanging around a 13 or 14-year-old that she barely knows? It's forking weird. Like, I get helping Melissa out when she was injured. The pizza was a bit of a stretch, but now they're going under their way to hang out with a child? Like, when I was 20, you couldn't pay me enough to spend my free time with junior high kids I wasn't related to. Everybody's like, I thought you'd left. How did you sober up so fast? Em tries to tell Gabby that she literally arrived a moment ago, but it's obvious Gabby doesn't believe her, which makes me think that literally not one single person, including Gabby, is her real friend, which, duh. However, the fire chief is suspicious of Crow's presence there, especially 1, he looks like trouble, 2, he came out from the bushes, and 3, he's drunk and smells like it. Crow insists that he's Em's friend, but alibis himself out by saying that he was at the local bar. So I was thinking about it yesterday upon the realization that the story is almost over, that 90% of it has been dumb people moving around doing dumb things, doing nothing to try and stop the fate. Especially Em from the second book on. She tried to do a ritual, was caught by JD, and then she hasn't tried literally anything else to stop the Furies or her own fate. Crow isn't helping, he's a set piece. He's about as useful as that Fury book Em has. So when Crow says he tries to stop JD, it's forking laughable. JD is fumbling around doing literally nothing, but he's also doing it in the same way that Crow and Em are doing nothing too. The full moon was tonight. Of course it is! The full moon is never a gosh darn month away! She heard voices. You'll never be rid of us. We tried to teach you a lesson. The worst part about all of this is that Em learned more of a lesson from the entire Zack situation simply because of karma. I'm honestly not sure what lesson that the Furies tried to teach her other than there are psychotic, terrible people in the world who wouldn't hesitate to mess your life up. Which, why do you need 3 supernatural sisters to teach you that lesson? Bo was trying to save me from the man in the closet. Did I call it or what? The story might not be half as bad as I'd anticipated, but it sure is predictable. Ash. Ash, I repeated. Who's Ash? Why does she hear him say Ash and immediately thinks that it's somebody's name? If my friend suddenly blurted out Ash, I would assume they meant Fire Ash. Granted, I have read way worse fairy stories, but my problem is that this book is unoriginal and boring. It brings literally nothing new to the table. It's like the author had a checklist of cliches and went down that list and wrote each of them in turn. When Meg wakes up, she randomly reaches over to her bag and is annoyed that her iPod was waterlogged and no longer works. And I get that they were expensive and that Meg saved up for a year to get it, but come on, forking priorities here. You are more connected to our world than you know, Megan Chase. You see, you are my daughter. Pretends to be shocked. Considering that the man is literally holding her hostage and openly admitted to destroying her belongings, I think that her ire is well deserved. In fact, I don't think that she's getting angry enough. You wanted a teenage daughter, and you're gonna get one. You're the worst father ever! They go over to a nightclub with a huge line, and the cat is like, you simply picture yourself invisible. It's that easy. Turn invisible. Think about being invisible, and you will be. But then Meg can't even do that much, so the cat says that he'll do it for her. She's taken into a cave where this horse with caps lock rage screams at her that he was sent to bring her to his king, the Iron King. Meg remembers about how the thing in her iPod told her that it was where Ethan was and obviously is eager to go with him in order to find Ethan. Puck, didn't you tell me once that the Fae were born from the dreams of mortals? Yeah, Puck said, not getting it. Well, what if these things, I jiggled the metal insect, are born from different dreams, dreams of technology and progress, dreams of science? What if the pursuit of ideas that once seemed impossible, flight, steam engines, the World Wide Web, gave birth to a whole different species of fairy? Mankind has made huge leaps in technology over the past 100 years, and with each success we've kept reaching, dreaming for more. These Iron Fae could be the result. I'm close to 200 pages into the story, close to 70% finished, and this is literally the only original thing that the story has to offer. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this, then you can read my entire story in full context on my Patreon for $1 a month. Come back next month for more out of context comments.